How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today we've got some Pokemon news, which I think you guys will be excited for, and some just rumors and stuff like that. So let's get started. First things first, this right here. Now, this is a post coming to us from Sifu Pokepress. Apparently, there is going to be a mystery gift for ENAMAROUS. At least that's what I'm getting getting the idea from here. But basically, at least what this seems to be implying here, is that we are going to be getting a mystery gift for 2 Pokemon in Pokemon Home. Those being Manaphy, I'm guessing, and ENAMAROUS. So both of them are going to be getting some sort of mystery gift you're going to be able to get your hands on. So essentially a special shiny lover tortoise, or in this case ENAMAROUS, has been released as a mystery gift in Pokemon Home. So we'll introduce how to obtain it in the deadline. We'll also introduce how to efficiently fill up the software Pokedex for Legends Arceus, which is a condition for obtaining it, and to do it if it's reflected in the software. So basically what they're saying here is they're showing you how to get it. Now, to actually get it, you basically got to fill up your Pokedex in Home. Like, that's the general gist of it. You got to make sure, I think it is specifically Legends Arceus, which you got to fill up if you want the ENAMAROUS. But if you want the shiny Manaphy, I think you got to fill up BDSP. I could be wrong. I think that's the case, though. But yeah, so if we just look through here, I guess, let's see. Normally, you need to capture 3 legendary Pokemon, Landorus, Tornadus, and Thundurus in Legends Arceus, which in this case, I mean, you're still probably going to have to do if you want to fill up that Pokedex. But nonetheless, just going through the list here, let's see. We're going to see if we can find any information on it. But basically, you got to fill up the entire list, right? Once you've done that, you should be able to get your hands on, these 2 Pokemon, or at least you should be able to get ENAMAROUS after filling up the Legends Pokedex. But yeah, so it's Legends Arceus, I think, for both. I could be wrong, but I think it's for both Legends Arceus. So as long as you fill up the Pokedex, you should be fine. As mentioned, also, there's no time limit for obtaining them. The Pokedex Encyclopedia also requires mythical Pokemon, so I'll show you how to fill those out later. But yes, basically all of them got to be caught. So if you haven't caught every Pokemon in Arceus, you're not really going to be able to get this. Just a heads up. But yes, you are able to get these guys, at least for now, right? But yeah, that's that. If you guys want to get your hands on ENAMAROUS Shiny, keep in mind it's Shiny, because it was Shiny locked, if I'm not mistaken. So now you can finally get a Shiny on your hands. And also, for those of you who don't have Manaphy, Fione, whatever, you can get that too, because of course that's another one of those shinies that's not really easy to get, or not really a lot of people have their hands on. So it's a good opportunity if you haven't already. So again, there you go. That's officially a piece of information we now have confirmed, which is great. But what else do we have for today? Well, first of all, this was already confirmed by Matt. Matt basically did during tonight's Pokemon Home Maintenance. New texts were pushed, revealing 2 new distributions for completing the Sinnoh and Hisui Pokedexes. So I guess it was Sinnoh, or is Sinnoh for Manaphy, and Hisui is ENAMAROUS. I think this is where I get the confusion, because the Japanese one here, this post from this website, doesn't necessarily, I mean, maybe it does clarify it. Again, we're just using Google Translate, so we're not going to get a perfect piece of information here from them. And of course, there will be other people posting about this, but looking at what Matt said here, he said the text does not indicate whether or not these will be shiny, but we will see once maintenance ends. And basically, what it says here is game Pokedex completion commemoration number 2. You completed the Sinnoh Pokedex. Here's a special Manaphy as a gift. And you've completion number 3 is you completed the Hisui Pokedex. Here's a special ENAMAROUS as a gift. So there you go. Well, maintenance ended and the distros have begun. So distributions, I guess, and both are shiny. I've seen a lot of replies, retweets, and then he just goes into some unrelated stuff. But yeah, some people are asking, it's like, they're really about to make me play BDSP for 3 years, dude. Same. So yes, you do have to do BDSP. So you got to complete the Sinnoh Pokedex in Pokemon Home. So transfer over Pokemon from the Sinnoh Pokedex into Home, which you do from BDSP, and then for that one you get Manaphy. But then for Hisui, if you want to get ENAMAROUS, you got to do all of Legends Arceus, and including the mythicals, by the way. So because you can catch the mythicals in regular gameplay, you don't need to do distributions events or anything like that to get them, or mystery gifts. You can just get them in the actual game, which is fair enough. So at least, hey, there's at least a purpose to play those 2 games again, which is wild to think about, by the way, that we're gonna be playing Legends Arceus and BDSP for like at least another 6 months probably before Legends ZA comes out. So it's kind of funny. But there you go. At least there is something to do in Pokemon right now. But there you go. That's that. Now let's move on to an unrelated point. This is from Moot. Moot Monthly, who says, doubt this is real, but, and it's a post from 4chan. Now, I do have this post open here too, and also I did see Poki Sutami did go through and talk about some of the stuff here, talking about some of the things, just saying that, the logos, don't really look like that legit. But yeah, let's just take a look at what the actual thing says. So, first of all, it says that it's supposed to be Generation 10, right? That this is supposed to be Gen 10, and it has like an image of what the logo is supposed to look like for the Gen 10 games, Pokemon Waves and Pokemon Winds, which, no offense to whoever made these logos, they're neat, but they're not Pokemon level quality, okay? And not to say the Pokemon, logos are necessarily that great always. They can be pretty shit sometimes, a la some of the stuff we've seen in the past. But again, it's a little far-fetched. But let's see what it at least has to say, just for fun, right? It says, Pokemon Day 2025, Mr. Leaks, says Golisopod and Golurk added to Unite. Doesn't sound that crazy. Golisopod would make a lot of sense. New Eevee-focused event for Cafe Remix. Again, Cafe Remix, a side game, the puzzle, match game, not that crazy that would be added. And again, I think Eevee has already had a lot of events, so having another Eevee, or Eevee is kind of like a general Pokemon you have in Cafe Remix, so having an event based around Eevee, not that crazy, and Evolutions and stuff, I guess. But yeah, either way, Carmen, Sinistra, and AZ Floette in Masters, okay. New mini set for Pokemon TCG Pocket or TCG Pocket. Distortion Chamber coming on March 6th, okay. New Eevee-focused Wonder Pick event. All right, fair enough. And then Tandem Mouse and Mousehold coming to Pokemon Sleep. That does not sound that crazy. I haven't really heard much about Pokemon Sleep in a long time. I mean, if you think about it, you have a lot of spin-off Pokemon games. You got Masters DX, you got Pokemon Sleep. So Masters DX, Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Unite, Pokemon TCG Pocket, and Pokemon Go. That's 5 entire, separate games that exist totally outside of the mainline Pokemon games. Separate entire games that have their own communities and people who dedicate themselves to playing them. I don't know about Sleep, though. I don't know how long a Pokemon Sleep's going to last for, because I used to play Pokemon Duel, which used to be another Pokemon mobile game spinoff, and that game got shut down. And I actually spent money on that shit, and they shut it down. So, pro tip, don't spend money in these games, because more than likely, if it's a more niche one, maybe not Unite, but even Unite, a good example is here in Belgium where I'm at, it's about to be banned, or not banned, but basically they're going to shut the game down because of some laws that exist here. Instead of removing those things that break the laws, they're just going to block the game here. So if you were a person who actually bought gems and, spent money on Unite, you cannot even have access to your game anymore and play it, which is really shitty and messed up in my opinion, but that's just how these things work. So please, with love of God, don't spend money on microtransactions, because this shit, I used to do it too. I used to spend a lot of money like an idiot on microtransactions, and I realized I'm wasting my money. It's not worth it, especially because these games will disappear, and then you have nothing to show for all that money you spent. So just don't do it. I mean, $20 once a year for one skin, fine, but you don't really need it. Just enjoy the games, the gameplay that's there, if the gameplay is even decent. But nonetheless, though, we continue on, and the next thing they say here, a teaser for Terrastall coming to Pokemon Go has a silhouette of Terrapagos. That sounds legitimate, though. That actually sounds real. Not that I think that Terrastall should come anytime soon. I think it's too early. Realistically, I think it's too early, because they just introduced, this year? Last year, in 2024, they introduced Dynamaxing, right? And Gigantamaxing and all that. They only introduced that, last year. And remember, 2024... and when Dynamaxing was first introduced was 2019. So there is a clean 5 freaking years between the introduction of that feature in regular Pokemon mainline games, aka Sword and Shield, and then the actual appearance of it in Pokemon Go. It took them 5 years to finally add it in. So I highly doubt Terrastall, which Terrastall came out, 2022, right? 2022, give or take, 3 years ago. I don't think we're going to see that shit until 2026 at the earliest, 2027 most likely. But you never know. You never know. Could happen. So it's one of those things that definitely could be real, but, we'll see. Next up, new trailer for Pokemon Legends EA. Okay, that would be logical on Pokemon Day. Set 20 years before X and Y, so he's implying it's in the past. You work with young Professor Sycamore, a researcher at the Quasar Development Company, to help turn Lumios into a city where people and Pokemon can coexist. I swear, every single rumor has repeated this exact same sentence, word for word, every single time. Every video I make, there's always that one rumor on 4chan. It's Lumio City is going through a redevelopment plan. because we want Pokemon to coexist. Like, brother, y'all gotta come up with some better shit than repeating the same concept. Like, obviously, the thing is, it is the most logical thing in this game. Like, it makes the most sense, but it is still Game Freak, and they could throw a wrench into any expectations you have. So, assuming that this is supposed to be how the story is gonna work, or how things are supposed to be, or the setting, or whatever, is, you know, it's fair, but also, who actually knows? Either way, the game plays much like PLA, so Legends Arceus. You work out of the central part of Lumios while unlocking and traveling to 5 districts of Lumios to carry out missions. Again, sounds reasonable, sounds very similar to Arceus. Looker returns from the future after the first few missions, saying Lumios was destroyed because of changes made in this time period. Quasar cuts ties with Sycamore. You will still work with Quasar while secretly working alongside Sycamore and Looker to save Lumios. I don't know about secret spy shit, but you never know. Could be fun. Could be real. A younger Diantha and Lysandra are seen in the trailer. Okay. Some new megas are shown. Zebstrika. Okay. That's actually would be really cool. Darmanitan. Yes, please. Melmetal. You know what? I can live with that. And Beware. Actually would be pretty cool. A Pokemon resembling Dweeble with a croissant shell is seen in the trailer. I dropped my croissant. By the way, again, that doesn't sound that crazy. Dweeble, like, shape of a croissant. I can see it. I mean, they made that new Pokemon, the new dog that looks like a piece of bread. I forget its name. Fido, like Fido. It's supposed to be a joke on the Fido, the name of a standard kind of name for a dog, but also Fido, dough as in it's a dough bread, or dog, bread of dog bread. Man, I'm losing my mind. Either way, point is, they can do that. They've done it before. It wouldn't be that crazy. Catacombs under Lumios, where Zygarde and other Pokemon are resting. Trailer ends there with Zygarde's core starts climbing onto Zygarde. Similar creatures to cores, blue and more angular, sharper, climb onto the other one. The light from these cores reveals the 3 starters looking onto us. Grookey, Totodile, and Tepig. Grookey, Totodile, and Tepig wouldn't be that crazy. I could see that working. I mean, it would be a weird combo, but I can see it working. Before we go, we have one more thing to share with you. Of course, the standard sentence they always say. POV of something shooting through the water. Camera shoots up and soars through the clouds. We see countless islands surrounding a central island with a giant tree / cities / mountains. Cuts to 2 Pokemon jumping at each other, a Pegasus and a giant sea snake. Both are carrying the same small blobby white creature with a sword on their back. The screen goes black and we hear 2 cries and see the logos, Pokemon Waves and Pokemon Wins. Now, would I like that? Would I think that would be pretty cool? Yes. Do I think the idea of Pokemon Wins and Pokemon Waves is a cool naming scheme? You know what? Actually, yeah. Pokemon WW, I can work with it. I can live with it. Or, Pokemon Wawi, right? Wins, Waves and Wins, right? Pokemon Waves and Wins. Wawi, Pokemon Wawi. I can live with that. That's not that crazy. But it is also an unrealistic rumor, mostly because the logo that's included, it just isn't realistic looking. Like, it just doesn't look like what I would expect a logo for this game to look like. Like, I mean, even Scarlet and Violet's logo, like, there is something there. There's, like, an element to it that, like, sticks out and makes it look unique, right? Like, this logo is a good logo. I don't care what you say. It's a good and well-made logo. It's got a lot of elements that hinted at stuff that was going to be in the game just in the logo. Like, first of all, the colors right down here, Scarlet with the yellow, perfect. It matches well up with the theme of the game. You have the little, like, icons here, which were all hints for either features or stuff in the game or locations in the game or just things in the game, right, that we encounter. So point is, the logo here was fantastic. I'm going to be real. This is just mid. This is a mid-ass shit right here. Like, even Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which, like if you want to hate on those games, you can hate on them. But the logos for them were actually pretty clean. Like, this shit is clean. You know what I mean? Like, this is clean. I like this. Like, this is nice. I like that they added, like, the kind of diamond shape in the background. Like, it's nice, okay? Obviously, the Japanese versions of it are fucking better. Like, it's not even a question. Right, the Japanese logos version of these are just hands down better. Okay, it's not a debate. But again, point is, this logo just doesn't. These logos just don't. They look like something I would slap together very quickly in Photoshop and like Give me 2-3 minutes and I can do it. It's like not that special. And I think that's where the issue comes in with this entire rumor. It kind of defeats the purpose of it when it looks too fake. So moving on to the next thing, though, we have this post from Necro Felipe, who says that apparently a Nintendo Switch 2 has gotten some new information and leaks. Apparently the charger has appeared in global certifications with support for 60 watts and power delivery. We'll have a more powerful charger in the Switch 2 as expected. Basically just implying that when it comes to the new Switch, the new charger is going to have 60 watt power or delivery, I guess, in this case. Let's just translate the website real quick and go through the information. So information about the Nintendo Switch 2 power adapter identifies as NGN001, has surfaced and several safety certificate databases around the world and shared by member FVD BVD on the Family Boards forum recently. If we go over here, we can see the original post from the actual person who shared it. So he says, Switch 2 power adapter has surfaced in a couple of safety certificate databases. There are two suppliers, Delta Electronics at Light On Technology, input 100, 240 VAC, 50, 60 hertz, and then output, you guys can see that right there. It looks like NGN001 unsurprisingly supports USB power delivery up to 60 watts. Again, back to the original post. The certificate points to two charger suppliers, Delta Electronics and Light On Technology, renowned companies in the production of electronic equipment. Cool. They also say, according to the records, NGN001 charger is compatible with the USB power delivery, USB PD standard, and offers up to 60 watts of power. A significant improvement over the original Nintendo Switch model. Check out the specification. So, here's the the information about that, just the general rundown. The versatility that the Switch 2 will be able to charge quickly in a variety of conditions, as well as potentially offering greater energy efficiency, support for USB PD power delivery up to 60 watt, also suggests a technological leap, enabling advanced features such as a faster charger and compatibility with modern devices, which is very good. The inclusion of a more powerful and advanced charger with the Switch 2 could be an indication of significant improvements in hardware, such as greater processing power or compatibility with accessories that require more power. In addition, support for USB PD is a trend that follows the evolution of electronic devices, bringing more convenience to users who want to charge their devices faster in less time. Nintendo Switch 2 does not yet have a release date, but it will be detailed in Nintendo Direct scheduled for April 12th, or 2nd, sorry. So, going over real quick and just looking up... let's see. Let's see. If we just look up like the wattage for like your average, like for example, the console I have, or like the handheld device that I have, is a Lenovo Legion Go, and the wattage on the charger for the Lenovo Legion Go is, I think, about 140, 150, like around there. Like, you know, just about. But again, it is, you know, like, it's one of those things where people even ask, like, you know, like, Lenovo Legion Go, like, it came with a really big 230-watt charger, impractical carry around, decided to buy a smaller 90-watt charger, and the people were actually wondering, you know, will it charge? Because this thing is bulky, and it does require a lot of power, and charging it is pretty fast, I'm not going to lie to you. So the question then is, like, if we look at, like, the Nintendo Switch, for example, Switch 1, charger, let's see, charger speed in watts, if we look it up, is around, and this is like the difference, right? You're looking at a difference of almost like not even quadruple the performance, right? So the Nintendo Switch is designed to accept chargers up to 39 watts. However, it will only draw power it needs, which is around 18 watts. Using a higher wattage charger won't necessarily harm your Switch, but it won't charge it any faster either. So it literally can go max up to 39. So if we just look at based on that, if it maxes up at 39 watts, but the new one goes up to 60, you already got a decent increase in performance already there. But like, just generally, this is a good increase. Like, it's not as good as, let's say, the Lenovo, which is a straight up computer in your hands. It's just hands down runs better. But this is still an increase, and that's, I think, what matters here. It's still a leap forward, which we want. We want this thing to perform well. We want it to run really well. We also want it to charge really well, so we don't have to spend, you know, forever waiting for it to actually start up. God forbid. I hate this thing so much. I hate this thing so much. Not because I think it's bad. I think this thing is the biggest blessing we could have gotten, because it opened the door to a lot of other companies to want to get into this space. That's why we're getting the Steam Decks. That's why we're getting the Lenovo's, the ROG Allies, and the Switch 2 now. Without the Switch 1, the Switch 2 would never exist. So I just hope that, you know, the Switch 2 can improve on all the faults with this thing, which it had a lot of faults, but it was the first of its kind. Remember, the Switch was the first of this kind of console. So... well, not necessarily. I mean, you could argue, like, you know, you had the DS, the Game Boy, etc. But this is the first one that went, like, to such an extreme that you could play games like Breath of the Wild and these, like, higher intensity games, even though it still struggled. you still could play far more games on this thing than you could on like a 3DS, right? 3DS had to have dedicated games made for it because it couldn't handle anything that like other consoles could. At least like the PSP could play some PlayStation 3 games and stuff like that that were maybe not meant for it, but like they were able to port it well enough that it could actually run. But of course, lesser graphics and everything. But generally, the point is, this thing opened up the door. And now the floodgates have opened, and I just hope the Switch will deliver in that department, which is what we're waiting for and hoping for. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy it, then drop a like down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.